What is up, podcast world? It has been a hot minute. Welcome to 12 All Talk. I have not done this since September of last year, and I have actually really missed it. I hope y'all are doing well. Thank you for taking time to even click on this podcast. It is still mind-boggling to me whenever I see people listening to this. It's a weird deal because whenever you self-produce a podcast, it's a weird deal because it's like, man, is there something wrong with me? I'm putting this out, but I enjoy having conversations and discussions and just talking through stuff and processing not only what I've been learning, but whenever I have guests on the show. This year, I'm so bad at this, guys. I'm a horrible starter, but I am a great starter, but I am a horrific finisher. And so this year I have made it a goal to be more creative for myself. For those of you who don't know, I just started a full-time, or not just started, the beginning of this year, I started a new position at the church I was working at. I am now full-time doing social media for the entire church, along with YouTube and podcasting. Whoop, whoop. It has been a ton of fun, but it's also been a challenge. And I don't know, for any other creative people out there, it's tough whenever your job is the thing that you enjoy doing in your free time. As much as I am kind of always on and always kind of wanting to do things, that whenever it comes to like making things for myself or doing projects or things that I am interested in or wanting to do, it's tough because like that's your job. And so sometimes you want a break from the thing that you do for your job, but you also want to do it for your work. So it is tough sometimes, but this year I do want to be, I want to get back into it because whenever I started back in when was the first one? I'm going to look. I did not look that up. Like you do, nobody will love me. In 2022. Yep, that was the first one that I started. I really enjoyed doing it, and I was consistent for a good while. And then, yeah, I don't know. And maybe I just need to come up with a more consistent posting schedule in terms of like what it is that I'm doing, what I'm putting out. But yeah, but needless to say, guys, I don't know. I think I've just been learning a lot over this since not putting out an episode. I've just been learning a ton. And what's difficult in doing this, and I don't want to talk too much about myself here, but the hard part is like I'm not just going to put out something for the sake of putting out something. Like it's this weird deal because in podcasts, when you hear people talking, it's okay. I have to fill some kind of value prop. Like, you're not going to listen to this unless you don't think you're going to learn something, or you think something by some miracle, something that I say is going to be funny, or it's going to like impact you in a certain way. And so it's a difficult thing to be like, is this even like worth saying? Should I even take time to even put this out? And so it really does mean a lot whenever people take time to listen. And if you're one of those people, if you're listening to this right now, thank you. You do not have to listen to this at all. There are much better things that you could be listening to. But yeah. Yeah. So thank you. It does really mean a lot. The first thing I kind of wanted to hop into, one of the thoughts that I have been learning, is just about creativity. I think being now a full-time creative, it's been a very interesting journey. Growing up, I did not think I was a creative person. I thought I was going to go into business. I did not think that I would be doing anything remotely close to what I'm doing right now. And so to be quote unquote creative, it's a very interesting deal that you're kind of doing because you're not only taking things from other people and like learning and adapting, but then you also are wanting to take things and put your own spin on it. And a lot of times you are taking things that are already there and you're just tweaking it a little bit. And it's an odd deal because you feel like sometimes there's a book that's called like Steal Like an Artist, because literally everything that you've ever seen in terms of art, whether that be digital art, movies, paintings, writings, dancing, singing, music, like all of that, like it's all been kind of done before, but then it's just another adaptation and a new little spin gets put on it. So like not necessarily every new piece of art or creative thing that you see is not necessarily like fresh and new, but it's different. It is new. But what happens a lot of times is it's been like, it's been taken from something else and then a whole new idea has come from it. So for me, it really is, creativity is a muscle that you do have to practice. Like, it's the same thing if you want to be, this is something I wish I was, but if you want to be a good golfer, well, what do you have to do to become a good golfer? You have to be around other golfers. You have to, learn how to hit the ball. You got to learn how to swing properly. You got to learn what's a par, what's a birdie, what's a bogey. Like you have to learn the terminology. You might have to go spend money to go and get a very expensive set of golf clubs. But to be a golfer, you have to learn how to do it. You got to practice. And if you want to be really, really good, well, then you got to put a lot of hours into being really, really good at golf. And so I think a struggle for me has been, like I want to be really, really good. I want to be the best. I want to be, a great creative. I want to do all the things, but it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of practice. And me only doing this full time for probably the past, I would say only 2 years of doing this full time, giving myself the grace to learn has been probably one of the biggest challenges for me, because we are in such an age and a culture, and especially if you're on social media or YouTube, you see all these people doing all these really cool things, and you think, man, I suck. Why am I not at that person's level? Well, it's because that person has been doing it for possibly longer, and so you don't. And I am talking to myself here, is that you don't have to be at that level yet. No one is expecting you to be at that level yet. But what it does allow you to do is then it opens you up to learning. Because I know for myself, whenever I feel like I should be at something else, anyone who's better than me, then I see that as like, oh, well, that's not fair, da-da-da. But it's like, no, like that's an opportunity to learn. Like that's an opportunity to grow. Someone who's been doing it longer, man, if you can get around that person and they can teach you, man, that you're at a huge advantage. I think for myself and my creative journey, I've learned two things or I would say three things have helped me on my creative journey. One is, dude, I've been around and have had the blessing to be around a lot of creative people that have kind of helped kickstart where I'm at today. So without people, like Jack and like Justin, they I've learned a ton of stuff from just being around them. And it wasn't necessarily a deal like, I'm going to teach you how to do this. It's like, no, you have to be paying attention. I think that would go into the second deal, is you have to be proactive in your development of whatever skill it is that you're trying to grow in. It's not just going to happen. You have to be proactive in doing that, because if you really want to be good at something or you want to be great at something, you have to put in the work. It's not just going to happen. Maybe I said three things, but maybe those are just the two, at least off the top of my head. But you have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to grow and to put time and put effort into it. Even if you are working another job and you're like, oh, I hate my job. I don't know like what I'm doing. But I really want to do this. Well, hey, then there might be a season where you're doing that for free. Or you might be going and working and going to school, And then you got to set time aside in the evening to learn that skill, or you got to be grinding it out, watching YouTube videos, doing stuff for free. I know for me, and there was so much time whenever I was a landscaper that it's not that I didn't enjoy my job, but it's just not what I wanted to do necessarily. My job was simple. It was fairly easy, but I didn't enjoy what I was doing. But what it allowed me to do was that I was able to listen to a bunch of podcasts. I was able to listen to a lot of books about, whatever it was, creativity or people or the Lord or whatever it was. And then I would take opportunities to go and learn from people for free, or go do gigs, or help go alongside and help do gigs, and that I could get that practice and the actual repetition. So it wasn't all just head knowledge. I had to actually go out and do the thing. Because for a long time I thought that, I just have all this head knowledge and okay, it'll be great. No, you got to go put that into action. You got to go do the thing, because that's what actually builds your confidence into doing what you you think that you want to do, or the skill that you're trying to practice. You actually have to go do the thing. But yeah, if that's an encouragement to anybody, you can actually go after the dreams and the things that you want to enjoy, and especially if you're young, man, you got so much time. You can go and try and fail and keep trying at things and figure out what it is that you want to do. So yeah, if that's any encouragement to anybody, that's great. What's another thought that I had? I posted this a couple, weeks ago on my social media at Real Torvald. Shout out to myself. Oh, why did I shout out myself? That was weird. Anyway, in the post, it says, this is the cover. Too many people live at a place of unhealthy desperation. And then I'll just read out a couple examples. They're desperate for a job. They're desperate for a relationship. They're desperate for something that they don't have. God can't give you something you're desperate for, because you will use it, abuse it, and misuse it. And he loves you too much to give you something that you will be too desperate for. You'll ruin it and forget who gave it to you in the first place. And then I equated it to a 5-year-old who loves trucks. So you're not going to give a 5-year-old keys to your truck for a couple reasons. One, he can't reach the wheels. He can't reach the pedal. He can't see over the steering wheel. He can't reach the pedals. He can't drive the car. And even if he could, he would crash the car. He'd probably hurt himself, and he would hurt other people. And I think a lot of people are asking for the keys to the truck that they are not old enough and not ready to drive yet. And so I have been seeing in my own life and walk with people, and man, you do some really stupid stuff when you're desperate. Whenever you think that, man, life's just not going my way, and a certain opportunity or relationship or person comes along, and then you just get desperate, and it will make you do some stupid stuff. And it's just incredible, because I think a lot of times what happens is it's coming out of a place of scarcity, and it's coming out of a place of, but this might not ever happen to me, or I might not ever have whatever, a girlfriend or a boyfriend, so I gotta as opposed to slowing down and thinking stuff through, that they get desperate and they make stupid decisions that affect not just themselves, but other people. And it's interesting, because whenever it does come out of that place of scarcity, and people are like, I really want this thing, or I think I need this thing, or whatever, that it's coming out of a place of that they're not trusting the Lord with the season that they're in. And I tell this to people all the time, and I don't want to turn this into a dating thing, but I'll just say it. If you're trying to date right now, and that's the only thing that you're kind of thinking about, and that consumes you, bro, then you don't need to be dating. Like because you think that you dating somebody is going to satisfy that want. I think a lot of people, they try to date, they try to get with a significant other, and they think that thing is going to satisfy them. But most of the time, it's actually out of another place of they don't feel loved, they don't feel seen, or they want to feel loved and they want to feel seen. But the only real place that you can get that satisfaction in intimacy and being loved and being seen is from the Lord. But a lot of people try to take a good thing and make it the main thing. And so, man, it hurts me a little bit whenever I see people who are like, oh yeah, I want to, man, where are the girls at? Or, well, man, where are the men at? It's like, okay, that's great. Like, that's a good thing that you're desiring and that you're wanting. But if that becomes the main thing, well, then you're only hurting yourself, because at the end of the day, dude, people will fail you. People will, they will not satisfy you. They will hurt your feelings. They will, people are people, dude. And so I think when people do that they're really just setting themselves up to get hurt or to make a dumb decision, all because they were working out of a place of desperation. And it's just not healthy. And in my personal opinion, and what do I know? But I think the only thing that you should be desperate for is if you are a Christian, and even if you're a non-Christian, man, the only thing that you should be desperate for is Jesus. He is the only thing that will satisfy, and he is the only thing that you'll ever need. And if you are outside of him, ooh, dude, then you really need Jesus. Because everything else will not satisfy you. Everything else will leave you high and dry. Everything else will not satisfy. It'll feel good for a little bit. And I'm not even talking about bad things, dude. I'm talking about good things. I'll wrap myself out here a little bit. Whenever I got this new job, dude, I'd been for not the whole year, maybe the last half of the year, whenever, this was maybe becoming a possibility, that I was like, dude, this would be so awesome. I was working towards it, and then I got it. And then I'm like, it's that moment whenever you've like gotten the thing, or maybe it's like, I don't know, this is a dumb one, but dude, you've made it to Christmas Day, or you've made it to Thanksgiving, or you've made it to some, your birthday or whatever it is. And then you get there and there's been all this buildup and all this anticipation. And then you're like, oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait till it's and then you get there and then you're like, okay, awesome. This is great. And then what now? I'm kind of lost. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing now. And then that's kind of how I felt of like, oh, okay, well, I got here. Oh. And obviously now it's another mountain to climb, and and that's good. But if you put too much hope on the like getting there and not enjoying where you're going and what you're supposed to be doing and where the Lord has called you to right now, well, then you're going to miss it. And then whenever you get to that thing, it's like, oh, okay, well, this is awesome. And then you're going to realize, oh, wow, this wasn't like the thing that I should have been like fully focused on necessarily, because this thing is not going to give me all the joy, all the satisfaction, all the purpose all the time, right? And so I would say that, that even with dating, even whenever wanting to get a job, even what I talked about earlier, man, if you're in a job that you don't like, I will say this only because speaking from experience, man, it is preparing you for later on down the road. You might not like it right now. It might suck. It might be whatever, but I am telling you, I'm speaking from experience. The Lord is using it to prep you for this upcoming season in your life. So don't despise it. Don't hate it. Don't be like, man, this freaking sucks. I don't like this. Why am I doing this? Like God does not waste time. Being a person I do not like to waste time. If I do not think I need to do something, I will not do that thing. Like, I'm that guy, maybe to a fault. And, man, the Lord does not waste time. So if you're in a season to where you're like, man, this is stupid. Why am I here? What am I doing this for? I would challenge you to say, Lord, why am I here? What am I supposed to be learning? Who are the people that you've put around me, maybe to minister to love on, to help grow you? Most of the time, actually, the Lord will put people in your life to actually grow you and develop you. Ask the question, Lord, why am I here? What have you brought me here? What are you teaching me from this? Because, guys, the Lord does not waste time. And so he loves you too much. And then he also loves you too much to give you something that you're not ready for. Because a lot of people are asking for things. Again, it goes back into the dating. It goes back into the job. It goes back into the money. I mean, it goes into so many things. The Lord he loves you too much to give you something that you're not ready for. And so see it as a blessing. See it as a kindness from the Lord whenever you do not get something that you think that you need. It's the Lord's kindness and his grace that he is keeping you from receiving a thing that you will probably ruin and misuse. And so whenever... Yeah, it's tough in the moment. It's tough in the season where it's like, man, I really wish I had this. But it's like, man, no, ask the Lord to reshift your mind and your perspective of what it is that he might be trying to do in your life. And I guarantee you that you will look back down the road and you'll be like, that's the reason why I didn't have a girlfriend. That's the reason why I didn't have that job. Man, that's the reason why I didn't have the money yet. That's you will see if you would slow down and you would not be offended and if you would not be frustrated, that you would see that it was the Lord's grace the entire time. So I hope that encourages someone out there, because the Lord really loves you and he really sees you and he really wants good things for you. But it's just like the truck analogy. If you were a dad and you had a son who really loved trucks, you love your son way too much to let him drive a truck that he is not old enough and is not big enough to drive, because he will hurt himself and he'll hurt others. So hope that encouraged somebody. Okay, and I think the one last thing that I'll talk about, community. Man, first off, if you're a Christian, this is a people thing in general, but man, you need people. This is coming from the guy who, if I'm being honest, I have learned to enjoy my alone time. I tend to be kind of a lone wolf. I would say I'm a little half and half. I'm extroverted around people that I enjoy being, around, and I'm, obviously it's very based on the space and, scenarios, etc. All that goes into a lot of it. And then sometimes I'm introverted and, whether in whatever space or whatever, again, that's a whole nother deal. Also, yeah, because that was one thing, the side note, that was something that always confused me of like, you're an introvert or you're an extrovert. I'm like, I don't think that's how it works. Again, what do I know? But I just don't know. For myself personally, I have found that there have been some spaces where I've been extroverted and I've been fun, and it's whenever you're around the right people and the right, environment, etc. But then there's other times that I've been like super introverted, or like, I mean, it literally can on a day, it can go between one or the other. So I'll just be honest. I don't really agree with the whole, are you an introvert or an extrovert? Sure. Are there moments where some people are maybe more inclined to one or the other? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I think a lot of times I have based people out, oh yeah, this person must be an extrovert because every time I'm with them, they're an extrovert. But then there's been times with the same people that I've been like, oh wow, you're actually like an introvert. Oh wow. So side note, I don't really believe in the introvert and extrovert thing. People are people, and people can have any range of emotions or feelings or whatever, etc. Back to what I was saying. But you need people. I have found that, man, like, you need people are around you for a reason. I have been put in situations, and the Lord has placed me in places where, dude, he has put me with people to I've been like, wow, Lord has put this person in my life to learn this, or man, this person has been put in my life for me to, by the Lord's grace, walk with and be friends with and help me grow, and I get to help them grow. And then you put people in your life that the Lord wants you to practice loving and walking with and helping them grow, not because you have all the answers, but man, you had someone in your life that cared enough to look out for you and love on you and walk with you whenever they didn't have to. So I think that that's a good, healthy place to be. You need to have you have to have three categories of people in your life. You have to have people that you're learning from, who are older, who can correct you, who can mentor you, who can love on you, who have been farther on down the road than you have been, that you need to be submitted unto and learn from. I'll tell you, I'm still learning that. That is still a hard thing for me, but I'm still learning that one, because whenever you are under some submission, the Lord's hand of grace is all over that. The second group is you need peers. You need people that you can be walking alongside and you can be growing with. That there's the iron sharpening iron, that you can walk with them and you can be learning from them, but they can also be learning from you. You have to have that, and you have to have people that you can be close with and honest with about how life is going. I'll come back to that in a second. And then you also need people younger, or people that you are pouring into. Because I think a lot of times we do this deal where we get poured into and then we don't pour out. I think we have to be people that are constantly taking what we're learning and pouring out. Okay, the side note, this goes back to creativity a little bit. This is a thought, side note. But one of the biggest things that I have been learning as a creative is that, man, if we serve the creator, if we literally serve the God who created the entire world, he literally created how everything in the world works, right? He is like the creative. Well, then I have learned that, man, every idea that you are getting, if it is even like a good idea, it's coming from him. Like, obviously, like it's his grace that you get any good idea. And so what happens as creatives, and me, I will attest to this, is whenever I get a good idea, I go, ooh, that's a good idea. I'm going to stick that one in my back pocket and I'm going to save that one for later. And one thing the Lord has been teaching me is like, no, the Lord doesn't give you good ideas for you to just sit on. He gave you the idea so that then you could put that out into the earth, and whatever facet, whatever medium, whatever it is. Like, the Lord did not just give you that thing to sit on it. And so he wants you you freely have been given, so you get to give. And so if you're a Christian, if you are someone who says that you walk with the Lord, man, you do not have to work out of a place of self-preservation, and that you get to freely give because you've been freely given to. And so, yeah, side deal. And so that also feeds into how we interact and how we love people, because I think whenever you're young, you're trusting, you love people, you're super open with people, you want to be everybody's friend, right? Well, whenever you can become an adult, sometimes what happens is you get a little jaded, you get a little cautious of people for good reason. I'm not saying that you should just be friends with everybody and everybody has great intentions. Everybody's messed up. Everybody's got their stuff that affects how they deal with people and how, all that. It's a big deal. If you haven't learned that yet, if you're a young person, you haven't learned that yet, coming soon. People are tough. And so, but I have learned that in walking with people, the Lord will give you grace and hopefully will put people around you that you really can just be honest with, that you really can just be honest about where you're at and how you're doing. And like, there can be actual growth and learning. The Bible talks about confessing your sins to one another. I think that's something that the Lord has really been working on my heart. That, man, it's not just about asking the Lord for forgiveness. It's not just about doing that, but the Lord really wants you to do it with other people as well. My mom's pulling up in the driveway in my vehicle. Oh, that was a side note. I'm sitting in my front yard because the weather is fantastic. But yeah, you have to be honest with people. You have to be because it is from that honest place that you actually get to grow. It's from that honest place that you actually get to become the person that the Lord has called you to be. And so you have to do that. You have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be honest with other people. And man, the Lord will grace you. And I'm closing because my mom is going to need help unloading the groceries, and I want to be a good son. Ask the Lord, send me friends that I can be honest with. Lord, send me friends that will love me, that will teach me, not necessarily teach me, but Lord, they will be willing to love me and love me through my mess. So, yeah, guys, I hope this episode was encouraging. I've missed doing this. I really want to be doing this more. I know I always say this at the end of my episodes, but I really enjoy this. This is a fun outlet for me. But guys, thank you. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. If this encouraged you, if this maybe reminded you of who the Lord is and who he's maybe called you to be, man, maybe share this with somebody. That really does help push this out to other people who maybe need to hear it. But love y'all. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a swell day. Peace.